Hey guys, my name's Mr. Sturiani and I'm going to talk to you today about how many polygons. Now, I think this is quite a sort of, it's a kind of very general subject if you like, because often if you're building assets, especially in the 3D environments and stuff, people ask, how many polygons should I use? And you can never be quite sure. Now, I'm going to discuss polygon counts for an environment context. I'm not really saying this is how many polygons you must use or anything like that. This is purely a guide for those who are probably studying just now, or who are even maybe in the gaming industry or the film industry just now. Because I often thought, when I'm building assets, how many polygons should I use? Am I going to go overboard, or am I using enough? But I mean, there's a lot of different things to consider when using when building objects and deciding how many polygons you're going to use. So I mean, what I've decided to do is I've got the Unreal Editor open here. This is the Unreal Development Kit. Don't worry about it if you don't understand it too well. I'm just using it as a way to explain what it is that I'm talking about. Because this is a level called DM Deck, and this is just one of the typical maps that you'd see in Unreal Tournament 2004. And what I'm going to do today is we're going to look at some of these objects in here, and just to give you an idea of how many polygons have been used. Because I mean, while I was studying, one of the projects I had to do was to design a 3D environment, and I was never quite sure how many polygons I should use, or what was a safe option, or was I going to break the engine or anything like that. But I mean, it's really hard to do that unless you're using a crazy amount. But so I mean, if you look through this environment, there's a lot going on. You've probably heard the term modular. So this is a lot of the same objects being repeated throughout the environment. This makes it easier for the engine as well, because you're just sort of generating the same objects. So if you look, if we take this deck here for example, might not be able to see that. Yeah, so if you look at this here, you can see this is just one object because it's highlighted here blue. So this is built up of a number of different things. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open this in the content browser. If it wants to load up. Let's see. So I'll have a look in the content browser here and just look at all the different attributes of this object. So we can find it. Oh wait, it's hiding here. Bear with me for a moment. Let's look at this. Okay. Static mesh. We can look at this. Alright, let's look at this here. So this is just a typical floor panel. You can see there's a lot of detail. Well, what appears to be a lot of detail. Of course, we've got like normal maps. There'll be probably depth maps in here used to kind of make things pop in and out. And you can see the top here, the amount of triangles out here. So 488. So this is a floor panel, and it's using 488 polygons. It's been triangulated as well. So if you look at the wireframe here, it's quite a simple object really when you look at it. You can break it down into different parts here. I mean, that's how you'd primarily want to go about building things. This is what's great about if you jump into, say, the Unreal Engine or Cryon Engine or Unity or any of these kind of packages. You can look at any objects that have been built within these maps, and you can break them down. You can say, all right, so here's a typical floor panel. Maybe 400 is a good number. You could probably even go less if you want. You know what I mean? You could even do that half if you want. It's about how much detail you want to do. And there's always this balance of with your mesh, you basically you're blocking out the basic shape, and then it's using your texture and pushing that to its absolute max. So I mean, there is that kind of funny balancing act. It's where where you're going to put most of your detail in, or what's going to cost the most amount of engine power, when it's being used in any kind of like the Unreal Engine or whatever. So I mean, and this is what's great. You can look at this. You can even look at UV maps and stuff. If you get the right channel. So I mean, if you're ever unsure even how you want to lay out your UVs, you can see that there. Now, the way that's been laid out, I might as well just talk about it. You get what's called light maps. If you've not heard of that before, basically, when you throw an object into an engine, and obviously there's going to be light and shadow in the map or whatever it is you're building, you want to make sure that the shadows are being projected properly. And by creating a light map, it's a really great way to make sure that your shadows come out nice and crisp and clear. Because I remember when I was starting up using Unreal Engine, I often had a lot of problems. I was like, why is it when I generate my, when I build my map and the shadows look horrible, they look distorted, maybe, the shadows look jagged, as though there's no anti-aliasing or anything like that. But really, if you build a light map here, you can use that. That can help resolve that issue. Here's that's the kind of main UV map layout for this object here. And this is what was great, because when I was studying, I always thought, when I'm UV mapping anything, I was like, oh, is this the right way to do it, or is there a better way? And I mean, an answer to that is, there's no really right or wrong answer. It's really just about what you want to get out of the object. And I mean, a good rule for me was basically thinking, right, where's the most detail going to be? So for example, this bit here, obviously is where most of the detail is. So which means if you're in your UV editor or whatever and you're building up your UV map, you want to make sure this has the most amount of space, because this is going to be the thing you're going to see most of. If you look at the side here and things, there's detail there, but it's not the main priority. So I mean, that's just a floor. This is just a rough idea, okay? So I mean, less than 500 polygons, you've got a pretty decent floor. Granted, you're using a lot of material techniques, to improve your normal maps and really make them stand out. I mean, that's just one object. So if you can look at your much bigger objects and stuff, but you can see that again, it's all modular. I mean, even look at this pipe thing here. This sort of pipe current going on here. It's all built at different objects. And what's great is you can go into the content browser and you can find these anywhere. You'll find related objects, even this pipe here. I mean, look at that. That's only 300 polygons. That's nothing. Yeah, look at the detail here. That's the normal map, but I mean, you're using multiple normal maps, so you get this sort of the sort of surface detail here. But again, I'm just quickly going over sort of polygon counts here. But I mean, again, if you're really unsure about how many polygons you should use, if you're doing like a uni project or whatever, and there's no kind of really set rules, I think this is a great way to kind of work that out. Whether it be a small object like a chair, or a medium object, something like this, maybe like a pillar, maybe a large object, which could be a roof, maybe. It could be something like that. You can go in to any of these kind of game engines, and you can just look about. You can select absolutely anything, and you can, you go into content browser, whatever's equivalent. Look for the objects. I mean, and you can see the polygon count. So I mean, hopefully this has been helpful for you guys, because this was always a big problem for me, because I think polygons is such a loose sort of subject. It could mean anything. But if you're, especially if people are designing environments or whatever, even games, not games, sorry, characters, you can also look in Unreal for this as well. But I was basically just covering just environments. So I mean, like I say, you can always go into any game engine, open up the contents browser or equivalent, and you can look at the exact polygons that are being used in the maps. And again, these are all industry professionals that are using this. They've all built this content for us to enjoy. So I mean, it's a really good way of setting a standard for yourself on how many polygons you're going to use. So I hope this was a great help to everybody, and good luck with your environments.